Hello, it's me, and we're going to go over the solution to the challenge that I put forth rather. So somebody did actually manage to find a solution to this. It was actually the same viewer who made the request. And this was JackRTully. Hope I'm pronouncing the name right. So you get full bragging rights. Congratulations, you did it, and you did it without any assistance at all from me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go through my way of solving it. It's pretty much the same way up until the last Parity algorithm. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more of a description on how to do that. But as you recall, what we're going to do is hold it to where the red, white, and blue is to the front, the top, and to the left. Only because when Jack did the request, that was the picture that was given to me. And we're going to bandage the bottom 2x4 area here. Now once you learn how to do this, you'll know how to solve a Siamese 4x4 or possibly a mass-produced Bandaged 4x4. So we're going to just go ahead and scramble it, bearing in mind the areas that are not supposed to be touched. So I'll continue doing this. Abracadabra. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, this 4x4x2 component here is completely fine, but this is all messed up. So to solve of this, the good news is I don't have any real new algorithms for you, which is good in some ways. But there is a point at which an algorithm could solve, could bring you out of a situation. But rather than do that, I'm going to use more strategy with this, kind of inductive reasoning, and the possibility of even avoiding parity. People have asked me before, can you avoid parities on a 4x4? And the answer is, well, from all practical purposes, you can't. What's causing parity is the inability to match the areas that actually calibrate the puzzle, in this case the corners. If you can memorize all the configurations in association with the corners, you can maybe avoid parity, but that's really up to the supercomputers. So the first step that we're going to do, just like any 4x4, is center reduction. And I'm going to start off with the centers where the majority of the centers are put in, such as green and yellow. Now we're going to do a lot of moving out, turning, and moving back in order to make things happen. So to move the green ones in place, let's find the green sections here. There's one over here. I'll just put that here so you can see it, and the other one is over here. So all I'm going to do is create a 1x2 bar and move it into here. That's easy enough. Move this across here, 1x2 bar, and in you go. So there that is. Now I'm going to do the yellow one. Now there's certain areas that I'm not going to be able to get at. For instance, if I put a 1x2 yellow bar here, I'm not going to be able to get it into here. It's just not going to work that way. So I'm going to do a lot of my action from the top in order to move it down here. So this yellow is here. I'm just going to match it up with this yellow over here. So how am I going to do that? Well, turn this into a position where it can match up with this yellow, move it over here, and turn it down. So now we've got two. The next centers I'm going to do is this one and this one, saving these two for the last. So just so you can visualize it better, let's put the red one in. The first step is I want to put the center, I want to put this one in because these two, once I make 1x2 bar up here, I can just move it in. So I'm just going to find any old one and put a red one into here. I'm not going to use this 1x2 bar to put into here. I'm not going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is move this out of the way. And this process is kind of like fishing. I'm going to bring this out to cast a net. I'm now going to trap one of these guys in that net over here, and then I'm going to bring it back. This way it moves this 1x2 bar back in. But I want to make sure this ends up in this slot, so I'm going to move this over here like so, and then place it back. So now I just have to move these two, and you can see this one is already here. What I'm going to do to create a 1x2 bar is move this to the top. So I'm just going to move it to the top over here. To bring this back down, turn it, and move it down. Now find the other red, which is right here. So what I'm going to want to do is I got to move this out so I can bring it up here. I'm not going to be able to bring it up here when it's in this position because I can't get to it. So what I'm going to do is throw it out there, turn, and actually I'm going to turn it in such a way so that it goes back in this slot over here, and then turn back so you can see it's here. Why did I do that? Well, because I can move it. I can now move it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up so that it's matched with this side here. So move it up, there it is. And now I've got to turn and move it back down to get this back in. Now I just have to move this into position over here. So I'm going to cast the net up here, which brings this up, moves this in this configuration, double turn, and bring it down. Now most of you who've tried this challenge probably know exactly what I'm doing. And this was not the challenging part. But to those who are interested in trying and might not have seen the challenge before, this is how you do it. But this is not a big problem to most of those who really struggled with this. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this. I just turned it upside down. This is already in. I've got an orange one already here, so I want to move this up to here, basically. I'm going to move this up here first. It might take this out of the way, but that'll be easy to put back in. So I'm going to move this out over here, bring this in so that I can move this in this position, and then bring it back. I'm not going to worry about this slot yet. Then I'm going to just put this here, move this up to create a 1x2 bar, and I'll bring it down. Now I'm ready to move this one back in. So cast a net, bring it back, and bring it here. So now we've got these things lined up, and none of these were put out. So now same thing, move this up here, casting the net, trapping this fish in there, and bring it back down. So we've got all but the last two centers. So the last two centers, now notice with these, it was a matter of bringing it out, making a turn, and bringing it back. Kind of like a 2-move situation. This is going to be done similarly, but it has to be a 3-move situation in 2 different orthogonal components, because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to get things up to here without messing things up over here. The basic technique that you're going to be doing, and we have to be careful about which center goes where. So this is green, opposite green is blue. If you didn't have that memorized, you can use the corners to help you. So I got to remember blue is here. But to move things around for the last 2 centers, the basic technique that you're going to do is middle slices. We're going to be doing middle slices here, and that's going to be RI, UI, R. So that puts this up here. Now I can move this any old direction that I want. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start moving things back in. I'm just going to reverse what I just did. Remembering blue is going to be on this side, so I'm going to move this blue down, and I'll finish it up with RI, UI, and then once again R. Alright, so what that did is that put these over here. You can just kind of play with it. Eventually, even if you just do that move randomly, you're going to end up with this situation where one is out and one is out. What you want to do in that case, in my case it's the white side, turn it to where both white 1x2 bars are above this center over here, and then turn it to where this white is on to the right over here as well. Because what you're going to be doing is moving this down to an RI, U, and then R. So you're going to have this configuration. Turn it to where this is now on top, so this can match this over here, and do RI, UI, R. And that will get it in. So now you have the centers. Edge placement is going to be pretty much the same as edge placement with any other 4x4. It's going to be done the same way. Now notice with edge placement on a 4x4, when you're putting them in, you're going to be taking a center out, but you got to be sure to put it back in. And here's the technique how you're going to do that. The first thing you want to put in are these 2 pieces over here. So I'm looking for the green and red. Green and red, green and red, right over here. So if I move this over here, you can see that this will slide into this slot nicely. So what I want to do when I put it into here is move it to the side over here. So you're matching red to red. And I'm going to move this slot out because this is where I want it to end up. So move it out like so. And this creates this edge over here. And all I'm going to do now is replace this edge with this edge by moving it up and across to replace it, and then down. And that puts all of these once again back in line. This is where it needs to be, and then you plop it back. Come across to the other side. Same thing here. Now, in this case, it's a little different. This is going to have a hard time getting into here because it's upside down. So to turn this right side up, the technique that you're going to want to use, obviously this needs to be here but upside down, is move it across here. What you're going to do is you're going to slice this down over to here. Slice it down here so you've turned it upside down. You've also created this edge, so just take it out and replace it with this edge. So move it across, move this up, move this back, and then get your centers back. This is not unlike what you do in a normal 4x4 edge placement. So you can see now this is right side up. So when this moves over to here, this orange and green is going to fit very nicely here. So once again, move it up to the top here, move this middle one out. So I've created this edge, which I'm going to replace with this edge by going up, turn it across, move it down, and now this is in line to come into here. So now we've got these. The next ones to do are these guys over here. And the technique is really the same. Red and yellow over here. But it's upside down. I need to move it to where the red is going to be here, yellow is going to be here, and that's not this case. So to turn it upside down, take it on the opposite side. Now I put it here because I can move this side over here. I can't turn it upside down from here because, well, I can move it here, but I can't do any turning from there. It's bandaged, remember? So don't forget, put tape there or do something to remind you of what you're not supposed to move. Anyway, this slice is going to come here to turn this upside down. Now I'm just going to replace this new edge with this in the right position with another edge, this one. So move it across, turn it up to replace it, move it back, and now we bring our centers back. So what you can see is that this is now right side up. This is where it's supposed to be. So to get this down here, ultimately I want to put this slot into this edge into this edge slot over here. So let's move this down like so. And I'm going to take this area here that's supposed to accept this, move it up, which creates this edge here, move it across, move this up to replace it, like so, as you can see, then move it back, and now we can move it down. So if this is going too fast, stop, rewind it, see what you can do. Anyway, now I have to do this side. So I'm looking for the orange and yellow right over here. This one is mercifully right side up. So move this down over to here so it matches the side. Move it up, then bump it out of the way. Bring this up to replace it. Move it back and bring it down. So now we've extended our block to this much, and now we just have to deal with this and this. So the rest of the edge placement, here's my recommendation. This is how I avoid needless parities with this. Some I can't avoid, some I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the edges of these guys here. In my case, they're blue. It's going to be blue and red, blue and yellow, blue and orange. So I'm going to find, say, the blue and yellows first and match them up with each other. Here's a blue and yellow here and a blue and yellow here. So this is the area that's not bandaged, so I can move this. And I'm going to turn this to where this is going to meet over here. Now when I put these edges in, I've got to be careful because I want to make it to where the blue is not on the top. If it is, well, as you can see, it's going to end up with parity. So I need to put it into where the blue is on the side over here. So I'm not going to take this and move it to here because the blue is on the top. Instead, I have to go upside down or the other way to move this here. On either side, one or the other, make sure you have an edge that you can sacrifice. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to use this one. This will come here, this will come here, and this will come here. It's going to be this three-way exchange. So you're going to want to know the pattern of what's happening. So move this down here, bring this across to meet it. So I'm going to take this edge that I made and just replace it with this edge. And let's get the centers back safely. So turn, 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 and up. No need to list algorithms with that. You can kind of intuitively see that. But here, this is over here. Next step, how about the blue and red? Here's a blue and red here. Here's a blue and red here. Now in this particular situation, you see that they're of the same side. What that means is I have to turn one upside down. Which one? Well, at this point, any one. So move this over here, and I'm going to turn this upside down. I need to make sure that something is here that I can sacrifice it with, which is this. So in this case, I can move it this way, I can move it this way, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to do a RI with the middle slice here, and then replace it with this. So UI, R, U, and bring this back up. So what that in essence did is it turned this blue and red upside down. I'm going to move it opposite to this blue and red. So here we have it here. Now I want to set it up to where the blue is going to be not on top. So it's not going to be here because as you can see blue will be on top. So we'll do it like this. This will come over here. I've got a sacrificial lamb on this side. So move this up here to create this side. Bump it out of the way. Replace it with this guy. Turn it back and bring it down. So now we've got these two. All right, what about the blue? This is not in the right place, but that's okay for now. Blue and orange. Well, let's see, blue and orange. Here's a blue and orange here and another blue and orange. Once again, this has to be turned upside down. I've got something in the sacrificial lamb position and turn it down to make this upside down. Bump it out of the way, replace it with this, bump it on back and get it back. The end result is now this is upside down. Move this across from here. Put it into a position where I know the blue is going to end up on this side. Here's my sacrificial lamb over here. So turn, creating this side, move it out of the way, put this one in its place, move it back, and then bring it back here. So the end result is I have all these three in. Now, at this point, it doesn't matter if you put it in or not. I'll go ahead and do that just so that it's easier to visualize. This comes over here. Here's an orange, so I'm going to put this in here. Okay, now it's not my intention to put these in at this point, but I did want to show you that this is all in. Now, the last edge reduction layer. How am I going to do this? Well, we've gone through much of the concepts of turning things upside down and reductions. I want to stress the 3-cycle thing that's happening with this. That although these are in place, we are going to be moving things down to take this position so that things can be replaced, but we'll still be protecting these areas here. What you want to do first is get one edge in. Now you can do varying degrees of strategy and planning it out, really make your head spin, but just to make it simple, find an edge to put in, and what you're going to want to do to avoid parity is put it to where all the white ones are up when you put the edges in. So for instance, here's a yellow and white, here's a yellow and white here. I could put this in. I could do that. These guys, I would have to turn one upside down, same thing with this. But I could put a red one or I could put the orange one. We'll put the orange one in. So move these opposite each other. Don't worry about these. Just remember, in my case, all the ones with blues, they're untouchable. I'm going to try to isolate those. So here's the white and orange, white and orange. We'll move this across here. This will have to come over to here to fulfill my requirement that this have the white one that's up. Make sure there's a sacrificial lamb on this side. There's this one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up to here. Bump it out of the way. Move this one in its place, bump it back, and bring it down. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that these are sort of out of the way. It doesn't matter, again, if they're in the right position, as long as they're kind of out of the way in this position here. So this is fine over here. And now the rest of these have to be put in with 3 cycles. Now, you can try to avoid parity. It's not really going to work so good, but in any case, this red and white can match up with this. This blue and white is of the same side, and this green can match up over here as well. So I'm just going to arbitrarily maybe solve the red one since it's already in position. I'll bring this up to here. I need a sacrificial lamb here somewhere. Certainly not these 3, not this one. So I'm going to move this into position. So I'm just going to turn this here down and move it across. Now let's consider what's about to happen when I put this in. When I move this in here, is it going to, in one fell swoop, fix all of them? Well, this is going to come to here. What's going to happen is that if this comes to here, I'm going to be replacing it with this one turning this way. So this is the one that's going to be substituted. If this were coming here, this is the one that's going to be 3-cycled on this side here. So if it's coming from the back to the front, you're going to be cycling this to here, and this to here. If you're going from the front to the back, you'll be cycling this to here, and this to here. Now, is this going to work for me? Well, I don't want 2 in and 2 out. But if I put this here, this will be in. This green one will come over here, and this will be out. Then this green one over here will come to here, and this will be out. So I'll have 2 in and 2 out. This will be solved, and this will be solved, and 2 will be out. So that's not going to work for me. Instead of putting the red one in, let's see what happens if we try the green one. So I'm going to move the green one opposite, the green and white opposite each other. and this is going to have to come into here, find the sacrificial lamb, which is over here. So let's see what's going to happen. What we can predict is going to happen. This green will come here to join its brethren here. This red will come over here and bump this out, so this won't work. And this red over here is going to come over to here. So no matter how you turn it, we're going to get a situation where 2 are in and 2 are out. So when that happens, I need to abandon this configuration, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to do something else. What I can do is just put it in a way where I still have these 3 that are out. So I'm going to say put these 2 opposite each other. Or better yet, what if I just move this to here? So let's put this in a ready position here. And again, I'm not trying to pattern it after anything in particular, but if this comes here, this will be out. This will come here, and these 2 will be out, and this will come here. So it kind of reconfigures things. Let's go ahead and do that. It'll turn this blue one upside down so that at least it can accept this one. So I hope that made sense, but basically I'm trying to have it to where 3 are still out, because when I try to put those, when I try to put them in, I'm going to end up with 2 out and 2 in. So this will come here, not to match up with this. This green will come here, not matching up with this red, and this will come here, not matching up with this green. So move this down in the ready position here, bring it down, turn, 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 bring it back up. All right, just to see what I did, let's go ahead and put our blues back in and kind of bump that out of the way. So what we have is this is in, not, not, and not. Now the reason why I like this is because this is actually in a situation where 4 of them have the white side up, right side up, and 2 of them do not. That's kind of what you want, because we're ultimately going to want to get all the white ones up. So let's see what happens with say this. If I turn this green and white to here, it'll bump out this red one. This will come here. If I use this one, this will come here, which isn't going to work because it's going to bump this red one out, and this red is going to come to here and be with the blue. So the green and white isn't going to work. Let's try the white and red to line up with this guy. So turn, turn, turn. Okay, it's going to be exchanged with this. So this will come here, the red will be fine. This will come here, the blue will be fine, and this green will come here, and the green will be fine. So at the end of the day, this is exactly what we're looking for, and everything will be fine. So I'll put this over here, match this to here, turn, 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 and up. And what we have is the simplest of scenarios where we've managed to avoid anything like parity. But it didn't have to turn out this way. Could have turned out like this. Okay, let's take it back to the scenario. We've got everything in like we've talked about. We've got this in as well, and we've got these 3 that are going to cycle with each other. As you can see, everything is kind of in the same direction. Upside down, or rather right side up, right side up, right side up, right side up, upside down, upside down. So we need to kind of shake it up a little bit. And I'm going to turn this one upside down. So move this over here, turn, 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 and up we go. So if we look at what's happening here, this is in, oh, okay, so this is not what I wanted because I've got 2 in and 2 out. That's not what I wanted. So let's go ahead and just kind of randomly bring it back here. Do a little better job there. Okay, so I should have thought about it, because if I put this here, this is going to be out. This green is going to come here, and that's going to be in. So that's not what I wanted. Not too well planned out. So how about this one? This blue will bump this out of the way here, and then this will come into here, and this will come into here. So none of them are going to match up at that point. Turn, 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 and up we go. Okay, move this out of the way here. So what we have is any one of these 2 can come into where they're supposed to be here. So let's move the blue one opposite here. So let's just start matching them up. Where's the other sacrificial lamb? It's here. So this blue will come here and be fine. This green will come here and be fine. And this orange will come here and be fine as well. So it looks like everything will match up at that point. So I'm going to move this to here, putting this in the ready position. Move this here to line that up. bump it out of the way, move this up here, bring it back and bring it back down, and we should be good. We should be good. We turn this blue back into place. Bring this down, even though these aren't exactly where they're supposed to be, that's okay. And uh-oh, good, 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 and not good. We have the 4x4 parity. Now normally with a 4x4, we'd look at this and we'd say, ha, I know how to deal with this. This is the Red Bull algorithm. But you can't Red Bull without the L. And I'll need this L in order to do that, but that is bandaged. I cannot do this move. So I've got to do something else. So what am I going to do to flip this upside down? Well, I could give a long involved algorithm which nobody is going to want to memorize for the purposes of just this particular puzzle. So instead we're going to do a quick pattern, a quick commutator that really works very well. That really works very well and is very easy to memorize. But I'll warn you, there's a price to that. What an algorithm will do is have an immediate reaction or have a definitive reaction and not change the configuration of anything else. But it's long and it's cumbersome to memorize. What a strategy will do is it's something you don't have to memorize, but you have to kind of work your way through the rest of it. Which just means putting things in, putting things out, but it'll recalibrate the puzzle. So what you're going to do is hold it here with the one that's upside down in front of you. This is R, this is U, so you're going to go like splitting it here, R to U, R to U, R to U, R to U, and R. Don't even memorize how many R's and 2 U's, just keep doing that until you get the centers back. What you're going to find is you're going to find that things have been reset. You still see a similar conformation, but now you've exchanged things. You've exchanged these here. So in order to minimize the motion, now this puzzle has now been recalibrated. You can just get it back any old way you want. But to minimize motion, you're going to see that the red and yellow, the one that belongs here, is here. So I'm going to turn this around and then find the orange and yellow and put that one in. And that's going to be right over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the ready position down here so that this can be moved up and be replaced by this. So I'm going to move this down here. Now I don't want to move it up into any old piece. I want to move it up into the one piece that's out, one edge piece that's out. So I'm going to move this into over here. So I've got this orange and yellow ready to come down to here in this position, and the only other piece that's out up to here. So we're going to move this up to bring this over here, move this out of the way, put this in to put this into proper position, move it back, and then bring it down. So as you can see, this is now in. Now we're going to turn it around and do the other side now that the red one is out. So to minimize motion with this, you can see that this red and yellow is also upside down. So I'm going to move this to the position here so that I can turn it right side up. This is going to be our sacrificial lamb. And I'm actually going to take this one that's of a different color and put it over here. So again, you don't have to memorize that. Just be sure that you're about to turn this upside down. This is going to be a sacrificial lamb. This could be any color actually, but the one remaining that's out comes over to here in the ready position. Because what I'm going to do to turn it upside down is this comes over here, creating this edge. I bump this one down, this red and white down, bring it to the side, replace it with this edge that's already out, bring it back, and I'll move my center back. Now what that did is that turned my red and yellow upside down. So now I'm in a position where this is going to come down to here. So the way that I'm going to make that happen is this has to come into the ready position over here. The one that I knocked out, I've got the red and white, green and white here. I'm going to do it to where this green and white, or whatever color is down here, is going to be coupled with this piece over here so that this will move up. So now that I have that, I'm going to move, and remember this is in the ready position down here, which will eventually come over to here to replace this edge. So move this up here, which recreates this edge, turn it to the side, move this up to put this in, move it back, and move it down. And you'll find you did it. So this is all placed correctly over here. Now notice what I did is you could sort of memorize what I had done. The main thing is to understand that R2U, 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 and just put things in the configuration that I said, and things will come up quite nicely. So now, where do we go from here? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this, I'm going to start doing a layer by layer approach. This moves down over here, and I'm going to put corners in. So I'm going to get this whole side over here. So do it any old way you can. This is not where it's supposed to be. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, this is actually already in. I'm going to bring that out because more than likely you're not going to have it so easy. Okay, so let's pretend that didn't happen. Anyway, so these corners are in. Now I want to get the edges in over here. So here's the blue and red. Move that to this area here, and we're going to do a little variation of the corner of the edge swapping algorithm to move this to here. You can kind of intuit this a little bit, but to bring it from the top right down to over here, we're going to go R to U, RI, U, R to U, RI, which will match this up. Then we'll go to U, R, UI, RI, and that's fine. That's in there. Now, believe it or not, I don't have this algorithm memorized because I can kind of visualize it. But just in case you're having a hard time visualizing it, this comes over to here, set up over here. In this case, this is the left side. So we're going to go like LI to U, L, UI, LI to U, L to U, LI, U, L. So now we have this. Now you see me do something similar with the Wood-Eden puzzles with the 2 circles. You've also seen me do this with a Saturn crazy 3x3 plus. Anyway, so now we have all of these guys in. Now we just have to get everything here correctly. So what you're going to do is you're going to be looking for a configuration that looks like this, actually. When you get a configuration that looks like this, you're going to turn it to where one side that's upside down is to the right, and the one side that's right side up is to the left. This is the easiest of configurations, but you might end up with something like this. Maybe something like this. If this happens, then really just go ahead and do this algorithm any old way that you can. You can put it to where there's a colored piece over here or an upside down piece over here, and just do R, U, RI, U, R to U, RI. Rubik's Cube solvers know that this is not a new algorithm. This is the algorithm that we used to do to shuttle edges around. And that's what's happening. These edges are shuttling around, they're actually rotating. But what you didn't realize maybe is that it actually has effects on these corners which I'm making use of. The thing about a tool is you have to maximize everything that happens with it. When you see it with just 2 that's out, move 1 to the left, 1 to the right, and do it again. R, U, RI, U, R to U, RI. You see these 4 over here. You can just keep playing with it basically, but find it to where you have 2 of the same color. Move it to where you have 1 in front, right, and 1 in back, right, of the same color, and do the same thing. R, U, RI, U, R to U, RI. Okay, this is that configuration where 1 is right side up, the rest upside down. Turn it over here so that this is to the left, the one that's right side up, and the one that's upside down here is to the right. I know these 2 are also upside down, but you want the one that's right side up to the left, and do the same thing. R, U, RI, U, R to U, RI. Now, in this case, it worked right away, but if it doesn't, you might get a situation where, once again, you're going to have 3 upside down, 1 right side up. Just do it again. So now it's a question of corner swapping. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and swap we're going to go ahead and swap these 2. Bring this to here. 2R to U, 2R to U, 2R to U. All right, now it's a matter of, let's say, flipping these 2. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R to U, 2R to U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, now this is going to be another situation of parity, because if I flip these two are going to be out. So the question is, what do we do about this? Well, unfortunately, this is where things are going to get a little complicated and not so clean in terms of a solution. I invite someone to find maybe more parsimonious solution to this, but what you're going to want to do is there's an algorithm that's used to do to swap opposite edges, and that's the 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U algorithm. I can't do that here because I'm a little restricted with my Fs. So here's what you're going to want to do. This is going to be a partial reset of the entire puzzle, I hate to say. But one of them that you have to swap is going to come here, the other is going to come over here. So I'm going to move this down over here, then I'm going to move this over here. And it's going to be the same algorithm, but it's going to be with a surrogate F. So we're going to start off with 2U, 2R. Now because I can't do a 2F, I'm going to take these two here, move them up here to an R over here, and then do 2F that way, and then bring it down. Then continue with 2U, 2U. Then once again, 2F, 2R, 2U. Now, we can actually maybe bring things back. Maybe put this back over here, put this back over here. It really doesn't matter, but basically what it did is it did kind of mess things up. It did recalibrate the puzzle, but now I have to get things back. So, we end up with this configuration again. Put this here, and now go ahead and do the same pattern with the one that's right side up to the left. R, U, RI, U, R, 2U, RI. Now again, R, U, RI, U, R, 2U, RI. Okay, so this is where it needs to be. So now we're just going to do some edge swapping. We'll do an opposite edge swap here, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Now I just have to do this swapping over here. I've got placement parity over here, which I'll take care of with this. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, and it's done. So the parity that happens between two edges that need to be swapped is a little messy. But go ahead and do that algorithm and then just quickly get it back. It will be recalibrated. So this will guide you through it. My goal of this again was to do this to where there's no new algorithms. And that's what I made good with. But the price to pay is sometimes you have to do partial rescrambles to calibrate it. So give it a try. Hope that helps. If anyone finds another simple way of getting through that two-edge problem, let me know. Thanks for watching.